Heyo, Tom here, and welcome back to another video on the Racing Joker channel. Today, we are discussing Need for Speed Heat and the Ghost Games Need for Speed Trilogy. The Ghost NFS Trilogy, or the NFS Ghost Trilogy. Whatever it's going to end up being called in history. So, Need for Speed Heat had a lot going for it. It had a small but fun vehicle roster. It had better customization than any of the competition, as far as I'm aware. It definitely beats Forza Horizon 4. The graphics are great, unsurprisingly. Maybe not as good as 2015, but it's still very visually pleasing. The handling model is okay. It's definitely an improvement since 2015. I will say that, you know, handbrake turns are still a bit unnecessarily overpowered, but it's definitely a lot better. You can drive like a normal human being slash race car driver if you wish, and you can still be competitive. The story of the game is okay. It was definitely an improvement over Need for Speed 2015, aka Need for Speed Bro Fist Fist Bump, and the story was definitely better than the discount Fast and Furious storyline we got in Payback. But even so, I will say the story was too short, and it didn't flow very well. It's the sort of story that I feel like you get this feeling that it bit off more than it could chew, or the writers did, and they didn't know how to really wrap it up. Because my main issue with the story is the way it ends. You see, you introduce the problem at the very beginning with the corrupt cops and the street racers being a thing, and this, that, and the other, and then you've got your character coming along, trying to become a racer, and then slowly being exposed to whatever the conflict is and getting caught up in something bigger than they initially intended to be a part of. Then you try to solve the issue, you encounter some problems, and then there's a time jump, and then suddenly your character is friends with people you've never really become friends with before, and you're about to end the storyline using intel you didn't know you had. Let me elaborate. So, you have an instance where you're with some league people and you're doing a stunt trying to get Mercer caught in the act with the whole chop shop, stealing cars and selling them off, whatever, and then it doesn't go very well. And then some things happen, and then eventually you do get Mercer in trouble, and he runs away because his corruption has been exposed. And then time passes, and apparently you've been looking for Mercer for a long period of time, and the way we find him is by tracking, like, I guess shipment trucks or whatever of cars, and we don't know how we decided to track down the trucks, how we found the trucks, how we figured out their routes. The league people that we had pissed off previously by getting them arrested is now suddenly working with us again. I don't know why. And then you find Mercer, and then suddenly the M3 GTR is there, which is cool. And then you catch it, you defeat Mercer, and then we disappear so that he can disappear. And then the lady cop can be in charge. You see what I mean? That's not exactly a very good flow. I will say, I do like the progression, not so much the story progression, but the progression of gameplay. You start out with a slow car, you're learning the ropes. It's all very, you know, basic Need for Speed, very good. And, you know, it's not massively hard. My main issue with the last few Ghost Need for Speed games is that it's very easy to get an endgame car almost right away. First thing you can do, you can get your first car, blah, blah, blah. And then you just grind a couple races, and then suddenly you have enough money for like a BMW M3, and then you can do the GTR engine swap, and then you do like 10 or 15 races at night, and you get all Elite Plus parts, and then you're all set. You're set for life, and then, you know, you're just leveling up, I guess. I can't remember how you unlock the other cars. It didn't take long for me to unlock the whole car roster. The only cars that took a long time were the ones that require like extra objectives, like finishing different story missions or finding collectibles. But anyways, actually back to the story. So this is a little controversial. I don't actually have an answer to this question, but if someone were to ask me which game had the most likable characters, it's difficult to say, because pretty much none of the characters in any of the games are likable. I would say Manny in 2015 is likable. There's not really anyone likable in Payback, I don't think. The Gambler? But what about Heat? I guess maybe the Rivera maybe the Rivera brother? I don't know. Here's the issue. The Rivera twins feel extremely unnecessary from a story standpoint in a racing game. And let me explain why. I know that some writers are going to disagree with me on this, but when you're playing a Need for Speed game and you've got a weird family drama dynamic between these two side characters that you don't actually have to care about because they have no impact on your gameplay whatsoever, really. It's like watching an apocalyptic film like 2012 or The Day After Tomorrow and being forced to be half immersed into this really annoying human storyline that we don't care about when all we want to see is the world burn.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
It's the same thing with racing games and even some car movies. I've talked about this before. When you put a human element into a film or game that isn't focusing on humans to begin with, you have to be very careful because it can just be annoying. And I don't know. The Rivera brother is okay, but Ana Rivera is just a character I spent most of the game wishing she would die in a fire, to be perfectly honest. Because for one thing, that would be dramatic and interesting, because the game could have been more edgy that way. And also because she's annoying, and unlikable, and disrespectful, and stupid. Other things? She's self-centered, petty, bitter, narrow-minded. She's pretty much a user. She likes using people to get what she wants, which is rep and fame, and to get somewhere in the street racing world. Remember when her friend nearly got killed by the cops and lost his car? Well, he told her, you know what, we're done. To heck with this. I don't want to die. I just lost my probably $150,000 car. I'm never getting it back. See you later, alligator. She gets mad. I assume she knows why he left, and she still gets mad. I think actually she does address that that's why he left, and she still acts like the victim. Interesting. So he leaves because he didn't want to get hurt. She gets mad. And then, I guess, after you finish the campaign, there's like a little dialogue, like phone call dialogue, you know, like, hey cousin, you want to go bowling? Those sorts of annoying calls that you have to like mute the dialogue to not be subjected to. Yeah, so her friend, Joe, I think? Joe's, Joe's Polestar. That's how I remember. Joe, the owner of the yellow Polestar, calls her and asks if she wants to hang again, and she says no, basically screw you, because you didn't want to die. And, yeah. Oh, and she also steals her dad's Camaro from her brother. I mean, yeah, you could argue that it's both of their cars, but legally it could be her brother's. It could only be titled in his name. And he's the one, regardless of that, he's the one that spent most of his time working on it and keeping it in good condition, and no one's allowed to drive it. He doesn't even drive it. And yet, she steals it, takes it for a street race, gets it wrecked, and then when he gets even slightly upset about it, she gets mad at him for being mad at her for taking the car and wrecking it. Nice. So, it's pretty difficult to say any of the characters were likable. Actually, you know what? A character I wish we could have seen more of was the psycho right-hand man to Mercer. The creepy psycho cop. Honestly, he could have made the story so much more interesting. How I would have done it is have him get estranged by Mercer. So when you wreck his car and he loses all the money, Mercer gets mad at him and dumps him, but then he goes psycho, kills Mercer, takes over the cops, then tries to get revenge on the racers. Lady Cop tries to stop him and team up with you because he's going crazy, and he's taking over the organization, but he's sloppy and easy to track. And then that happens, and you just start messing up his operations from there. Then you track him down using the trucks that came out of nowhere. And there you go. You got a story. Much more interesting, actually. Having psycho characters, I know this is kind of a unsurprising thing for me to say given my channel name, but psycho characters are entertaining. And he was probably the only character that we all liked. I mean, he literally became a Need for Speed meme in the trailer.
I said right now!
Honestly, I think the most likable character in the entire story is the M3 GTR. Anyways, basically the story's dumb. It's better than previous games, but those games didn't set the bar very high. I think for the next game, we just need a story where the character for the most part works solo. They'll have no weird motivations other than to build cars and win races. The same motivations as the player, pretty much. Now, I will say, I'm okay with starting the storyline as like kind of a revenge story where you're at the top of your game in the story and then all that's taken away and the whole game is basically about getting back at the people that screwed you over, like Most Wanted or even Underground 2. That's fine. That is fine. But don't make it more complicated than that. No weird secret organizations, no random cringy family drama, and no fist bumps. I will say this. I love that this game focused more heavily on police pursuits and made them more intense and fun than the last two games. The cops are scary and are a real danger. But I cannot get over the fact that our cars have health bars. Because I spend basically every night of in-game gameplay wishing I could ram into cop cars and take them out, Most Wanted style, and I can't, because I'm afraid of dying. Which, sure, it's realistic, but asking someone to care about realism in a Need for Speed game is like asking a Lamborghini Murcielago owner to be conscientious of their fuel economy. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you're part of the problem, because Murcielagos don't have good fuel economy. I know that in Gzilla's Heat Plus mod, you can't turn off the health bar, but I wish you could, because then the police pursuits would be so much more fun. Oh my god, so much more fun. Because when you're able to do that, I mean, the cops are scary, they're difficult, they're aggressive, they're coordinated, and sometimes they're actually hard to get away from. If you just had the ability to ram into cops, like old school Need for Speed style, that would have made the game like a 7 or 8 out of 10 rather than a 5 or 6 out of 10. It would have given the game replayability, which is another thing that the game just woefully lacks. I mean, I will say, Need for Speed Payback and 2015 also have absolutely no replayability. And what I mean by that is, at the very least, to give your game replayability, you can do things like give it an insanely large car roster, like Forza Horizon 4, or you can give the player a way to challenge themselves and better their skills in ways beyond just racing. So like in Most Wanted 2005, you could play the game after you've completed the career campaign and go, well, I want to see how hard it is to do a 1-hour pursuit or a 2-hour pursuit. How quickly can I get 20 million bounty? You know, that's cool. And you've also got the challenge series. I feel like the next game needs to have a challenge series. But also, if you could make the pursuits more replayable for ordinary and both competent and skilled players, it would have more replayability. Because no, the racing is not quite there yet to be replayable and fun. But the cops are awesome. And if you take away the health bar, you can go, okay, today on today's live stream, we're doing a 2-hour pursuit. We're going to see how many cops we can wreck in 2 hours. We're going to set a world record. I'm going to hurt my neck, man. I'm going to cringe something. So the health bar ruined it for me. Another thing, I don't know how many people truly care about multiplayer races in a Need for Speed game, but it's a predominantly story-driven, single-player game that can be played offline. So making it so that you can't farm races multiple times because the rewards get reduced after every race is completed is kind of stupid. We need to drag whoever had that idea and whoever approved of that idea into the street and shoot them. But that's a joke, YouTube. Don't demonetize me. I don't know. Take them to a place where capital punishment is a thing and charge them with crimes against humanity. Oh, and another thing. DLCs. Microtransactions. I vaguely remember developers saying, we're going to avoid microtransactions in this game because you guys didn't like microtransactions in the last game, even though they were redundant. They didn't really do anything. They didn't give anything extra. Anyway, so they said, no microtransactions. We're going to try to not put them in. Well, they didn't avoid it because you can spend $5 to have every collectible revealed on the game map. And hilariously, they came out with that DLC or, I don't know, downloadable content after I had already done that. So after if you guys know, I did a live stream series where I collected every collectible in the game so that I could get the 488 Pista, and then they came out with that stupid downloadable thing where you could spend $4.99 and you just see everything on the map. Son of a gun! So, by the way, if you bought that and used it to get all the collectibles, you achieved nothing. And I will minimize all of your accomplishments until the day I die. And here's the best part. This is so bad, it gives me Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012 vibes. You can get the McLaren F1, but only if you spend $5. Let's think about that for a moment. Let's do some math. Need for Speed Heat is a $60 game, or $70, I don't know, with 127 cars. If it's a $60 game, that's less than $50 per car. Less than $50 per car. Which makes the McLaren F1 over 10 times more expensive in terms of real US dollars. For a car that at least in one point in real life was the fastest car in the world, keeping it locked behind a paywall, I think that's a straight up gaming sin. Hennessy Venom Most Wanted 2012, anyone? Does nobody learn? We gotta shame these people for these things. Oh, and just to make it worse, actually, they just came out with that whole Red Bull thing, but it's exclusive to consoles. I mean, sure, us PC gamers will get access to that through mods or something, somehow. But I'm going to be honest, the only company I'm semi-okay with having exclusives, the only company I'm okay with them doing that is Nintendo. PS4 and Xbox exclusives, PS5 and whatever the new Xbox is, those just, no. But I digress. The game was actually enjoyable despite my negativity. My videos are a testament to the fact that the game was fun to play, but there's no endgame. Once I completed the main story, I built a few cars, and then the game was pretty much dead to me. It was the same thing with Payback in 2015, although I never finished 2015, which I think is worse than having no endgame, to be honest. And it doesn't help that NFS titles don't get continued support after release. At least, not really. Just a few free updates, and then all work shifts towards the next game. And now that Ghost has been terminated by the all-knowing, benevolent, ultimately wise company that is EA, that has everyone's interests at heart. Heck if I know what the next game is going to be like, and I don't even know if I care. And it doesn't help that the community is difficult to please, I know. I'll probably buy the base version of the next game, but I'm not gonna pre-order it or get the deluxe edition because I've kind of fallen out of love with this franchise, I must admit. The most modern NFS game that I actually like going back to and replaying is currently Need for Speed The Run. And that game doesn't even have an end game. It does have a challenge series, but it's mainly just fun. In fact, I'd say a story like the one in The Run, or Most Wanted 2005, or Underground 2, like I said earlier, a character that has hit rock bottom for some sort of reason because people have messed them up somehow and needs to race to get themselves back to the top or out of debt, that's pretty good. They need to do that in the next game. I know they're not going to, because no one listens to me. Did I like Need for Speed Heat? Yes. Will I ever play it again? Probably not. I mean, I will be testing out the Gzilla Heat Plus mod on Twitch very soon, so, I mean, if you want to watch that, follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/theracingjoker. We just went over 200 followers, and we need to get to a much higher number than that, especially because my friend Annoying Llama passed me in followers, and that's unacceptable. But also give him a follow because he's cool. If you like World of Warcraft, do that. I want to be positive about this game. I'm happy they brought back the M3 GTR into the storyline, sort of. But for one, the engine sound is wrong. Anyone who has ever heard the M3 GTR from listening to the sound from the interior or exterior, or heard the sound of the engine by itself on an engine dyno and isn't tone deaf, knows the sound of the car in the game is inaccurate. And get rid of that stupid Sunline Racing body kit. Or just put in the COS kit for the R34 and keep both. I don't care. I vote to get rid of it. You have a COS kit for the S15 Silvia, and everyone prefers the COS kit for the R34. So just do it. And fix the sound of the R34. The R32 sounded better. Did you not realize that we would want our R34s to sound like the stock R32 engine? Like, hello? It's like the people making these games are not self-aware and don't realize that people might like certain things and that certain decisions they're making. It's like that sort of thing where you don't take a step back and go, well, that was a stupid decision. Hey, let's fix it with just a couple changes in code or whatever. Change some sound files. I mean, you could record like a single turbo R32 or something and use that for the R34. You don't have to record an R34 for the R34 sounds. You can record any RB26 car ever. It's a video game. We're not going to know the difference. And also, why is it that I can't rebind the controller controls, like Xbox controller controls, for when I'm driving manual? Like, why am I being forced to do the dragon claw grip when I'm used to doing the other one where I upshift with Y and downshift with B? Why can't I just do that? Like in every other Need for Speed game I've ever played where that's been an option. I'm being negative again. Okay, look. Things I like about the game that I want to see again. Different versions of the same car, i.e. you've got the Huracan Performante, the Spider. Is it the Spider or the Roadster? Doesn't matter. The Aventador S, Aventador SVJ, the convertible versions of that, the BMW M4, BMW M4 GTS, C7 Grand Sport, C7 ZR1, etc., etc. I genuinely didn't have a problem with them doing that. In fact, I liked that they included nicer versions of the, like, not just having the base versions of a car and then having the higher trim versions. I also think making the higher trim versions of the cars harder to get or locked behind some special quest was a great idea because it became a badge of honor to have one of those cars. Like especially with the 488 Pista. Get every collectible in the game, do all of that, and you can have a 488 Pista, so that now, when you drive around in your 488 Pista, everyone knows you're a tryhard with no life. Like me. Like, you could... I also love the addition of the Legends cars and using aftermarket parts and vinyls accurately based on the originals. The Mantis body kits on Eddie's R34 and Rachel's 350Z were fantastic. They were so good, especially the body kit on Rachel's 350Z, that I wished it was real in real life. That was an actual body kit you could have because it looked so good. And I feel like one other thing you could do in the future game, if you're going to include those cars and this, that, and the other, like I said before, put a challenge series in the game, and as you complete certain challenges in the challenge series, you start at the bottom where it's difficult but not super hard, but then, like, once you get to, like, challenge 10 of 63, it unlocks one of the Legends cars, or a special version of a different car, like a Huracan Performante. Like, the only way to get the Huracan Performante is to complete challenge 34 of 63. But the only way to unlock challenge 34 of 63 is to get to a certain point in the story. And to be a certain level. Make things harder again. I think, like, keep things heavily locked behind things, that you have to complete missions and get leveled up, and this, that, and the other, to have things even be open to being obtained. Unlocked. Despite the stupid health bar, the cop chases are exhilarating and challenging, like I said. I also like that the best performance parts in the game are locked behind high heat races that you can only access at night, and you have to complete them, and then you have to survive the night, bank those points and parts, and then you get them unlocked. I like that. I actually really like that. I feel like they should have leaned a little harder on that and made more stuff locked behind high heat races, because that was really cool. It was really satisfying to pick up those elite parts. The racing is okay, kind of lackluster, but it at least isn't terrible, and the handling model is at the very least bearable, at the minimum. It is a satisfying handling model, but it's a little strange still. but it's better. The customization, as I said, is the best in the business. Both aftermarket and performance upgrades are diverse and fairly in-depth. The new addition of engine swaps is amazing. I just wish I could have done an RB26 or a 2JZ swap into an FD RX-7 to make everyone angry when I say, that sounds much better. The music is fairly good. I will admit I enjoy listening to Red Light when I'm driving in real life. The sounds of the cars are alright for the most part. I feel like they just need a little more character. Hilariously, the standard Huracan sounds better than the Performante. The Performante sounds like a modern 5.2 V10 Gallardo R8 or Huracan, whereas the base, like, I think it's a 610-4 standard car, that sounds more like a 5.0 V10 Gallardo. You know? Here are some things I'd like to see that aren't in the games yet. So, Criterion, you're already on thin ice, so pay the attention. Intense pursuits, just like the ones in Heat, but without health bars. Put in a score system like Bounty and Cost Estate. Have a way to track how many cars you've rammed into and destroyed, how many roadblocks you've dodged, spike strips, all of that. Give yourself a bunch of infractions to get through. I think there was like 8 or 9 in Most Wanted 2005, like excessive speeding, reckless driving, ramming a police vehicle, evading arrest, all that good stuff. Put that in the game. Give us more things to do in pursuits. A challenge series or a way to publish records you've made. You could make it where you post your record and attach some money to it, and if no one beats it in a certain amount of time, you get double what you put down or something like that. So like, let's say I did a 5-hour pursuit and got 4 million rep in a Toyota Corolla. Beat this in 30 minutes and you get $8 million. But if no one does, I get $16 million. That would be really cool. Have less of a human-centric story and more of a car-focused campaign. Duh. Have the protagonist start at true rock bottom and make cars and performance parts locked behind story progression, at the very least. Not locked behind levels, because otherwise you could just level up to 50 at the start of the game and then start the main story from the very beginning in like an M3 GTR, like I've done in every game that's come out since Ghost took over. And little different, have a non-US inspired map. Take us to Asia or something like that. Like, take us to somewhere based on Japan. Give us cool Japanese highways, mountains, city streets, and country roads. Take me home to Tokyo, where this shit belongs. You could even tie that into the story and make it sound like that our main character is on the run, dodging extradition or something. And make the main story, is that how extradition works? I don't know. And make the main story about discovering who our character is and why they're on the run. And have it be the big reveal at the end that it's Ryan Cooper that we're playing as, or the protagonist from Most Wanted in Carbon or whatever. Have that be a twist. We had the twist of having the M3 GTR at the end of the game. Let's have it where at the end of the game, it's revealed that our main character is the character that we came to love and then get annoyed with because we never had to deal with them. But that would be so cool. It could be like revealed by having Cross show up and say, "Oh, it's you again." Or Rachel, or Mia, or Nikki say, "Long time no see. Where's your BMW, motherfucker?" And just for me, don't make drifting more torturous than walking on broken glass after taking a bunch of blood thinners. And for the love of God, put my generation of WRX into the game, or a Blob-Eye STI, at the very least. I'm getting sick of seeing the hatchback STI. For all of us Subi Gang members, we need some options here. We've got 2 Evos now we need a new WRX. Put my WRX in the game, damn it. I'll think of more wishlist items for a future video, and you guys definitely put your ideas down in the comments below, and I'll compile a list for a future video for Need for Speed 2021? Is that the year it's supposed to come out? Well, that's enough for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I feel like my camera has been moving. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. This is the second to last Need for Speed Heat video I'm gonna make. either ever or in a long time. The next one will be about the Heat Plus mod. If you want to see me play that mod, follow me on Twitch, and you can see me do it live. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have been enjoying Need for Speed Season 1. It's almost over. The end of an era on this channel, ladies and genitals. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. Enjoy your cars, enjoy your gaming, enjoy whatever it is that you do. Do it with a smile on your face. And if not, I'll put a smile on your face. That's not creepy, right? Thank you so much for watching for the upteenth time. I'm Tom the Racing Joker. I love you. Keep it awesome. Stay crazy. I still haven't standardized my outros after 3 years. Bye.